Hey, Warrior Goddess Garden, Carrie Starr here, and this is where we turn pain into growth, power, and beauty like a beloved garden. And this today is part 2 of Dark Night of the Soul. And just like in part 1, I want to offer this gorgeous, gorgeous black heart. I feel like it's just so beautiful just to even set your eyes upon. And in part 1, we talked about how much it hurts and what it can feel like as we journey into this ego death that we're experiencing, that you may be experiencing right now. It may be one of many, or it may be your first time going through painful things and realizing that what you've been doing isn't working, and who you thought you were is not who you want to be anymore. And it hurts. But I want to encourage you to not get stuck in the pain. And to do that, we start to look at, what do we want? What do we want? And so before we start in on that, I want to say, hey, if this is your first time visiting Warrior Goddess Garden, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Hit the subscribe button, and if you do, comment that you did, and I'm going to reply back and say, yay, thank you, I'm so glad you're here. Like the video and share it with your friends and family. We're all going through tough times, and I've been through this Dark Night of the Soul a couple times. It's very, very painful, and so it can be so easy as a human. We get stuck. Like, it's easy to live in fear. I know that sounds ridiculous. I know it does. It's easy to live in fear. Let me preface that by saying it doesn't require a lot of us to stay stuck in fear. What is even more challenging is to face that fear head on and keep walking in bravery. That is tougher, because when we do that and we're going through our dark night of the soul, okay, so in video 1, we're experiencing the pain, we're experiencing the loss, maybe the loss of idea of who we are, the loss of relationships, the loss of job, the loss of home. We're experiencing losses. But then, to not get stuck there, what must we do? Because we do not want to get stuck and go into hopelessness, because that's not going to serve anyone. And that's certainly not going to get us on the path to becoming the warrior or becoming the goddess of our own life, right? So what we need to do next in our dark night of the soul is we need to have some concrete things that we're going to work towards. So what that looked like for me, give an example, and you can see how it resonates in your own life as you go through your dark night of the soul. So for me, as I shared in video 1, I was going through a lot of changes in my life, and who I thought I was not who I desired to be, because I wasn't honoring my heart. I wasn't honoring boundaries, and I wasn't honoring the calling on my life. Now, little did I know when I started down my journey of discovering who I am, why I'm here, and what I'm meant to do, I truly had no idea that it would lead to me, the dissolving of a marriage, and then, having children, and then it led to the children not living with me. Oh my gracious. That was tough. That was a construct. I love being a mother, and I love mothering. And so for me as a woman, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was very, very invested in, this is a pillar of who I am. I am a stay-at-home mom, and I'm a mother of children, and this is what I do. This is who I am, or who I think I am. I made it a huge, enormous part of my identity. And the way I can look at it now and explain it in a way with hindsight and with, a loving heart, first with myself and then with others, is that it was really tough to go through, you know, the dissolving of a marriage. And then what transpired after that was me not living with my children full time for a while. And it would have been easy to stay stuck. It would have. And so what I had to do was reach out for help. I really, really had to reach out for help. And if I hadn't have reached out for help, I probably would have ended my life. There were a couple times where it felt really close. I was in deep, deep despair and mourning and hopelessness a few times. And it was scary and it was really tough. And when I say turn pain into growth, power, and beauty, it is because I have lived it. I know pain. I feel it. I can sense it in people, and it is one of my gifts to help them turn pain into something that we can call beautiful in the end. It is not for nothing that you're going through something tough. We have an evolution that we agree to before we come, but it can feel painful. So, what helped me during that painful dark night of the soul was getting to a point of like, okay, this really hard things have happened that feel devastating and that I feel very attached to. Why did this happen? Why is this happening to me? This isn't what I wanted. This isn't what I meant. Blah, 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 blah. All these things, right? All this attachment to what was or who I thought I was. So in that pain and in that situation, I had an opportunity. And that's what I want you to think of it as. I want you to think of this dark time for you, if that's where you're at, as an opportunity to choose something different. Instead of saying, why is this happening to me, and being in victim mode, because that's a choice. I want you to say, why is this happening for me? I have the ability to make a better choice. I have the ability to choose differently. I have the ability to create my life in a different way and pivot and move in a different direction. And so that's exactly what I did. I was, went from being married and a mama, a full-time mom and having a farm, to being single and having 12 days in a row without children. I literally did not know what to do with myself. I was completely lost and felt very, very untethered, which you'll know what I mean if you've ever felt untethered. It's really scary at first. Untethered from everything you thought you knew and everything you thought you were. When it's all stripped away and you literally have been skinned alive, well, you get to call in something new. And that's when I started down my path of being a healer. And that's when I started down my path of being a medium and a psychic and a channeler. And I focused on what was my passion, and I focused on things that brought me joy, and I focused on things I was good at. And that's what I want you to do. So I encourage you right now to make a list or flip on your camera, your cell phone, of what do you love to do? What brings you joy? That's all I want you to do. It's really simple. What brings you joy? Is it creating art? Is it spending time with friends? Is it making music? Is it, going to school? What is it? What brings you joy? What brought me joy was some silly things, actually. Learning how to play pinball. That was bringing me joy. Going on walks every day, and then cultivating my um, intuitive abilities, and going to school for it. That's what was bringing me joy. And so those are the things that I focused on as best I could. And gardening. Like, Where Goddess Garden is named from the creation of my Dark Night of the Soul. We can turn everything that you're going through into something powerful and beautiful. I've done it, and you can too. So I want you to name or list 3 things that bring you immense amounts of joy. And maybe there are 3 things that you can't even believe that you're writing down. Like, you've never even allowed yourself to consider them. Like, you've never even allowed yourself to try them. But you watching this video and you're like, you know what? I've always wanted to be a paraglider, and I'm going to freaking do it. That's going to bring me so much joy. Allow this time of Dark Night of the Soul, this painful place, to catapult you into something new. Who do you want to be? What is that person doing? What brings them joy? What lights them up from the inside out? That's your work right now. That's your work right now. Because staying stuck in the pain and the fear is only going to bring you more pain and more fear. It's not going to get you out. One of my teachers gave me a great little thing to say when you're going through something tough, so that you can neurologically pivot out of it. You can train your brain to help yourself out of a stuck pattern. So let's say you're feeling despair one day about your situation, and like in my situation, my marriage dissolving, and thinking, I'm failed. I'm a failure. Like, I couldn't keep my family together. I couldn't do it. I've messed up everything. Okay, so we could get stuck there, and I could keep, shaming myself and belittling myself, but that doesn't help my life in any way. That's just going to lead me to, more pain and more suffering. So what my teacher taught me, Sifu Kelly, was, let's pivot that and say, even though, so you can write this down, even though blank. So I would say, even though I feel really sad today about being divorced, and then you write, what I really value and hold dear is blank. So even though I feel really sad today about having a divorce, what I really value and hold dear is peace and cultivating love in my life. And to prove that, this is the next part you write, and to prove that, I'm going to clap my hands 3 times. By taking an action at the end, you've snapped your brain to attention, and you have committed to doing something. You have committed to this path of peacefulness and love, and to show yourself and to retrain your brain that you're going to do that. It's a call to action. I'm going to clap my hands 3 times. Or I'm going to, clap my leg twice. Or stomp or anything. Blink. I'm going to blink. Because what that does is it changes the pattern. It pivots you out of the emotion that you are feeling. Your mind can take control and say, no, I'm not going to do this. Even though I feel really sad right now, what I really hold dear and am committed to is peacefulness and love in my life. And to prove that, I'm going to stomp my foot. And then I'd be like, okay, come on, girl. You can do this. You can do hard things. This is the self-talk that I would do. I can do hard things. So I've given you a couple lessons, 3 things that light you up, 3 things that you want to try, 3 things that you love to do, And then this pivot of pivoting the brain into, even though I feel blank, what I feel really committed to is blank. And to prove it, I'm going to take an action. Something simple, right where you're at. While you're driving the car, in the grocery store, sitting at your desk, whatever. It's a really powerful mental pivot that has been immensely helpful to me. All right, you're doing so good. So this has been part 2 in Dark Nght of the Soul. In part 3, which will be up next, we are going to look at cultivating the warrior or goddess in you. What comes next? And that's where it starts to get good and fun. All right, you're doing so great. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button and comment that you did so, because I'm going to jump up and down and get excited with you. And I'll see you in video 3. So love to you. Until next time.